My son threw me out of his wedding for his bride, but what I said next silenced everyone. I stood in front of my bedroom mirror, smoothing down the soft blue fabric of my dress. It wasn't fancy, just a simple knee-length dress with delicate lace at the collar. I'd bought it 3 months ago, the day after Michael told me he was getting married. "Mom, you're going to love Jessica," he'd said on the phone, his voice bubbling with joy. "She's perfect." I'd been waiting 28 years to hear those words. My son, my only child, had finally found someone to share his life with. The dress cost more than I usually spent on myself. But this was different. This was Michael's wedding day. I wanted to look nice for him, not to steal attention, just to be a mother he could be proud of. I pinned back my gray hair, the same way I'd worn it for 30 years. A small pearl necklace, the one Michael's father gave me before he died, rested against my collarbone. Nothing flashy, nothing bold. I looked exactly like what I was, a 62-year-old woman who'd worked double shifts as a nurse for decades to put her son through college. My phone buzzed. A text from Michael. "On my way to pick you up, Mom. Can't wait for you to see everything." I smiled, grabbing my purse. The venue was at a fancy hotel downtown, the kind with crystal chandeliers and marble floors. Jessica's family had money, Michael had mentioned. They'd insisted on paying for most of the wedding. When Michael pulled up, he looked like a prince in his crisp black tuxedo. His eyes crinkled the same way his father's used to when he smiled. "You look beautiful, Mom," he said, kissing my cheek. "Not as handsome as you," I replied, fighting back happy tears. The drive took 20 minutes. Michael talked the whole way, about the ceremony, the flowers, the cake. He seemed nervous, excited, alive. "Jessica's a little stressed," he admitted as we pulled into the hotel parking lot. "Big day jitters, you know? But she's so excited to officially become family." I squeezed his hand. "I can't wait to welcome her." We walked through the hotel's golden doors together. The lobby sparkled with white roses and silk ribbons. Guests in expensive suits and designer dresses milled around, sipping champagne from crystal flutes. I suddenly felt small in my simple blue dress. But Michael held my arm proudly, leading me through the crowd. Several people turned to look. Michael's friends from college, some cousins I hadn't seen in years. Then I saw her. Jessica stood near the grand staircase in a white silk robe, her hair already styled in perfect waves. Even without her wedding dress, she looked like she'd stepped out of a magazine. Her eyes locked onto me. Her smile vanished. She whispered something to the woman beside her. Her mother, I assumed, based on the same sharp cheekbones and ice-blue eyes. Both women stared at me like I'd just tracked mud across their white carpet. "Michael," Jessica called, her voice sweet but strained. "Can I talk to you? Alone?" Michael glanced at me apologetically. "I'll be right back, Mom. Why don't you grab a seat in the ceremony room?" I nodded, watching him walk toward Jessica. She grabbed his arm and pulled him into a side hallway, away from the guests. I couldn't hear what they were saying, but I could see Jessica's face. Her lips moved fast, her hands gesturing toward me every few seconds. Michael's shoulders tensed. Something was wrong. I found a seat in the 3rd row of the ceremony room, right on the aisle. Close enough to see everything but not intrusive. The room looked like a fairy tale. White flowers everywhere, golden chairs, soft music playing from hidden speakers. Other guests filed in, chatting and laughing. I recognized a few faces from photos Michael had shown me, but no one approached me. I sat alone, my purse in my lap, trying to ignore the knot forming in my stomach. 10 minutes passed. Then 20. Finally Michael returned. His face looked pale, his jaw tight. He walked straight to me. "Mom," he said quietly, crouching beside my chair. "We need to talk." The way he said it made my blood run cold. "What's wrong, sweetheart?" He wouldn't meet my eyes. "Jessica's. She's upset about your dress." I looked down at my blue dress, confused. "My dress? What's wrong with it?" "It's blue," he said, as if that explained everything. "Yes, I thought blue was appropriate. It's not white, it's not. Jessica specifically told everyone not to wear blue, Michael interrupted, his voice strained. She sent out a message 3 months ago. Blue is her signature color. She's wearing a blue sash on her dress. Her bridesmaids are in blue. The flowers have blue accents. She wanted to be the only one in blue. I felt like I'd been slapped. Michael, I never got any message. I didn't know. I know, Mom. I know. He rubbed his face. I should have told you directly. That's on me. But Jessica's really upset, and her mother is making it worse. They're saying you're trying to upstage the bride. My mouth fell open. Upstage. In this dress. Michael, look at me. I'm wearing a simple. I know, he said louder than he meant to. A few guests turned to look. He lowered his voice. I know, Mom. But it's her day and she's really upset. So what do you want me to do? I asked, my hands trembling. I don't have another dress with me. Michael looked toward the hallway where Jessica was waiting. When he turned back to me, I saw something in his eyes I'd never seen before. Resignation. Jessica's mother offered to take you shopping, he said. There's a boutique down the street. They could have you back in an hour. I sat very still. You want me to leave your wedding ceremony? To buy a different dress? An hour before you get married? It's just for an hour, Mom. Please. I'm begging you. Jessica's threatening to call off the wedding if I don't leave. Finish. He nodded miserably. For 28 years I'd put Michael first. When his father died suddenly when Michael was only 5, I'd worked 60-hour weeks to keep our house. I'd skipped meals so he could have new shoes for school. I'd stayed up until midnight helping him with college applications, then worked the morning shift at the hospital on 3 hours of sleep. Every choice, every sacrifice, every tired morning, it was all for him. And now he was asking me to leave his wedding over a dress color I didn't even know was forbidden. Michael, I said slowly, if I leave now, I'll miss the ceremony. Even if I find a dress, I'll miss watching you get married. I know it's not ideal, but not ideal. My voice cracked. Michael, I've been dreaming about this day since you were born. I've imagined walking into that room and watching you marry the woman you love. And you're asking me to miss it because of a color. Mom, please don't make this harder than it already is. I'm making it hard. I stood up, my legs shaking. I'm not the one making demands. I'm not the one threatening to cancel a wedding. She's stressed, okay? Michael stood too, his voice defensive. She's been planning this for a year. Every detail matters to her. And her family paid for everything, so I should be grateful I was even invited. The words came out sharper than I intended. Michael flinched. That's not what I meant. But it was exactly what he meant. I could see it in his eyes. Jessica's mother appeared at the entrance of the ceremony room. She was tall, elegant, wearing a champagne-colored dress that probably cost more than my car payment. She looked at me like I was a stain on her perfect day. Michael, she called sweetly. Jessica needs you. She's quite distressed. Michael looked at me one more time. Please, Mom. Just this once. Do this for me. Something inside me cracked. I've done everything for you, I whispered. Your whole life, Michael. Everything. I know and I'm grateful, but it's not enough, is it? Picked up my purse. Fine. I'll go. Relief flooded his face. Thank you. Thank you so much, Mom. I'll make this up to you, I promise. I'm not going shopping, I said quietly. His relief vanished. What? I'm going home. Mom, no, that's not. If my presence in this dress is more important than my presence at your wedding, I said, my voice steady despite the tears building behind my eyes, then I don't belong here. You're being dramatic, Michael said, frustration creeping into his voice. It's just a dress. Just change and come back. It's not about the dress, Michael. I looked at him, really looked at him, and saw a stranger. When had my kind, thoughtful boy become someone who would choose fabric color over his own mother? It's about respect. And if Jessica can't respect me enough to overlook a dress I wore by mistake, then I don't know what kind of marriage you're walking into. Michael's face hardened. Don't talk about Jessica like that. I'm not trying to. You've never even tried to get to know her, he snapped. Every time we invite you to dinner, you're too tired or working late. You've met her maybe 4 times in 2 years. And now, on her wedding day, you're causing drama. My heart shattered. I worked those late shifts to finish paying off your student loans, Michael. The ones you said were stressing you out before you proposed. He went silent. I paid off the last of them 3 months ago, I continued, my voice shaking. I was going to tell you today. Surprise you. But I guess that doesn't matter now. Michael's face went pale. Mom, I didn't know you were still. Of course you didn't. I adjusted my purse on my shoulder. You didn't ask. Jessica appeared in the doorway, still in her robe, her mother right behind her. Michael, what's taking so long? People are starting to ask questions. She looked at me, and I saw it clearly now, the coldness in her eyes. This wasn't about a dress. This was a power play. A test to see if Michael would choose her over me. And he had. I was just leaving, I said to Jessica directly. Congratulations on your wedding. Mom, wait. Michael reached for my arm. I pulled away gently. I love you, Michael. I always will. But I won't stay where I'm not wanted. I walked past Jessica and her mother, past the guests who'd started to gather in the hallway, whispering, past the white roses and the gold ribbons and the crystal champagne flutes. The hotel lobby suddenly felt suffocating. I was almost to the exit when I heard Michael shout behind me. Fine. If you're going to be selfish about this, then just leave. The word hit me like a physical blow. Selfish. After everything. After 28 years of putting him first, of sacrifice after sacrifice, of working myself to exhaustion. He called me selfish. I stopped walking. Something inside me shifted. I'd been quiet my whole life. Accommodating. Bending. I'd swallowed my pride when Jessica barely acknowledged me at dinners. I'd smiled through her mother's subtle digs about my quaint house and simple job. I'd accepted being treated like a footnote in my own son's life. But this, being called selfish for having dignity. Well, I turned around slowly. The lobby had gone quiet. Guests lined the hallway watching. Michael stood near the ceremony room entrance, his face red. Jessica gripped his arm, her expression triumphant. I walked back toward them, my heels clicking on the marble floor. You're right, Michael, I said loud enough for everyone to hear. I am being selfish. So let me be completely selfish for just one moment. Michael's eyes widened. Mom, I didn't mean. I need to tell you something, I continued, my voice steady. Something I should have told you months ago, but I was waiting for the right time. And I suppose being thrown out of your wedding is as right as it's going to get. Jessica's mother tried to interrupt. This is hardly the time for. Be quiet, I said sharply, not even looking at her. Her mouth fell open in shock. Focused on Michael. Only Michael. 3 years ago, I said, I was diagnosed with stage 2 breast cancer. The lobby went completely silent. Michael's face drained of all color. What? I didn't tell you because you were applying for that promotion at work, I continued, my voice calm despite my pounding heart. You were stressed, barely sleeping. I didn't want to add to your burden. Mom, Why didn't you? Let me finish. Took a breath. I had surgery, then chemotherapy. 6 months of it. Every Thursday afternoon, I'd sit in that chair and let poison drip into my veins, hoping it would kill the cancer before it killed me. Jessica's grip on Michael's arm loosened. She looked uncomfortable now, shifting her weight. You asked why I missed so many dinners, I said. Why I was always too tired. That's why. I was fighting for my life, Michael. And I was doing it alone because I didn't want to worry you. Oh my God, Michael whispered, his eyes filling with tears. Mom, I had no idea. I should have. Why didn't you tell me? Because that's what mothers do, I said simply. We carry the weight so our children don't have to. We suffer quietly so they can be happy. I looked at Jessica now. She couldn't meet my eyes. I've been in remission for 18 months, I continued. I'm healthy now. Strong. But those treatments cost money. Money my insurance didn't fully cover. So I worked extra shifts. I sold your father's old car. I cashed out part of my retirement fund. No, Michael breathed. Mom, no, you shouldn't have. And then you told me about your student loans, I said. How stressed they made you. How you couldn't propose to Jessica until they were paid off because you didn't want to start a marriage in debt. Michael's face crumpled. He knew where this was going. So I paid them, I said. $32,000. Every last cent. I paid them off 3 months ago because I wanted you to be happy. I wanted you to start your marriage free and clear. You used your cancer treatment money, Michael said, barely audible. For my loans. I used my money to help my son, I corrected gently. That's not something I regret, Michael. I'd do it again. I looked around at all the guests watching us, at their expensive clothes and their jewelry and their champagne. At Jessica's mother, who'd gone very quiet. I wore this blue dress today, I said, because it's the nicest dress I own. I couldn't afford a new one because I spent my savings on you. And I didn't know about the color rule because no one told me. Not because I wanted to upstage anyone. Not because I'm selfish or dramatic. Jessica made a small sound, almost like a sob, but I wasn't done. But you know what the saddest part is. I looked at Michael, my voice breaking just slightly. It's not that you asked me to leave. It's not even that you called me selfish. It's that you didn't ask me why. When I said I was too tired for dinner, I continued, you didn't ask why. When I looked thinner, paler, worn down, you didn't ask why. You were so focused on your own life, on Jessica, on this wedding, that you stopped seeing me. Michael's tears spilled over. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, Mom. I don't want an apology, I said quietly. I want you to understand something. Marriage isn't about perfect weddings or signature colors or who paid for what. It's about standing by each other when things are hard. It's about asking why instead of judging. It's about seeing the people you love, really seeing them, even when you're stressed or busy or distracted. I turned to Jessica. She looked smaller now, younger, her carefully styled hair suddenly seeming like armor. I don't know you very well, Jessica, I said, not unkindly. And that's partly my fault. I should have tried harder. But I want you to know something important. The man you're marrying today was raised by someone who gave up everything for him. Who loved him so much she fought cancer alone so he wouldn't worry. Who paid off his debts with her life savings. Jessica's lower lip trembled. That's the kind of love that shaped him, I said. And someday when you have children, you'll understand what it means to love someone that much. To put them first even when it costs you everything. I looked at Michael one more time. I'm not leaving because I'm angry, I said softly. I'm leaving because I finally understand that I taught you to take my sacrifices for granted. I never asked for help, never complained, never said no. So you grew up thinking that's just what I do. That I'm always there, always giving, always bending. You are always there, Michael said desperately. You're my mom. You're the most important person in my life. Then why did you choose a dress color over me? Asked simply. He had no answer. I turned to leave again, but this time Jessica spoke. Wait. Her voice was small. Please wait. I stopped but didn't turn around. I'm sorry, she said, and she actually sounded genuine. I didn't know about any of it. I wanted everything to be perfect and I thought you were trying to. To what? I turned to face her. Steal your spotlight. Jessica, I'm 62 years old. I wear orthopedic shoes. I don't want your spotlight. I know, she whispered, tears running down her face now. I know that now. I'm so sorry. Please don't go. Please stay for the wedding. I looked at her, really looked at her, and saw something I hadn't seen before. Fear. She wasn't a villain. She was a young woman, terrified of starting a marriage, desperate to control something in a day that felt overwhelming. I understood that feeling. I'd felt it at my own wedding 33 years ago. But understanding didn't erase what had happened. "Jessica," I said gently, "if I stay now, everyone will remember this. They'll whisper about the drama, about the mother who was almost thrown out. That's not the memory you want." "I don't care," she said quickly. "I don't care what people think. I don't want to start my marriage by hurting the woman who raised the man I love." Her words hung in the air. Michael stood frozen, tears streaming down his face. Guests filled the hallway, absolutely silent. Even Jessica's mother had tears in her eyes. I looked at my son, my baby who I'd rocked to sleep 1,000 nights, who I'd taught to ride a bike and read and be kind. The boy who'd held my hand at his father's funeral and whispered, "Don't worry, Mom. I'll take care of you." When had we stopped taking care of each other? "Michael," I said quietly, "I need you to answer a question. And I need you to be honest." He nodded, wiping his eyes. "If I weren't your mother, if I were anyone else in your life, would you have treated me this way?" He opened his mouth, then closed it. "Really thought about it?" "No," he finally whispered. "No, I wouldn't have." "Why not?" "Because." He struggled to find words. "Because I would have been afraid of losing them." "But you're not afraid of losing me," I said softly. "I didn't think I could," he admitted, his voice breaking. "You're my mom. You're always there. You always forgive me." I thought that was just how it was." "That's the problem," I said. "You didn't think I could leave. So you stopped treating my presence like a gift and started treating it like a guarantee." The truth of those words settled over everyone like snow. Jessica stepped away from Michael and walked slowly toward me. Her white robe dragged on the marble floor. Up close, I could see how young she really was. 26, barely an adult. "My mother always told me that wedding days are about the bride," she said quietly. "That everything should revolve around what I want, what I need, what makes me happy." And I believed her because it felt good to be the center of attention for once. She glanced back at her mother, who looked uncomfortable. "But you just showed me what marriage really is," Jessica continued. "It's not about being the center. It's about seeing the people around you. Really seeing them. And I didn't see you. I'm sorry." "I didn't know about the cancer," Michael said, walking up to join Jessica. "But I should have known something was wrong." "You're right, I stopped asking why. I stopped looking at you and seeing you. I just assumed you were fine because you always are." "I'm not always fine," I said simply. "No one is. But I didn't want you to worry." "That ends today," Michael said firmly. "Mom, I can't undo what just happened. I can't take back calling you selfish or asking you to leave. But I can promise you something right now, in front of all these people. I will never take you for granted again. I will ask why. I will look. I will see you. And I promise too," Jessica added. "I want to know you. Really know you. Not just as Michael's mom, but as the woman who raised this man I'm about to marry. Will you give me that chance?" I stood there, looking at these two young people who were about to promise their lives to each other. They'd made mistakes today, huge mistakes, but they were owning them, growing from them. Isn't that what life was about? "I'll give you that chance," I said finally. "On one condition." "Anything," Michael said quickly. "Stop treating me like I'm made of steel," I said. "I'm not invincible. I'm just a woman who loves her son. And sometimes I need help too. I need to be asked how I'm doing. I need to matter." "You do matter," Michael said, his voice fierce. "You matter more than anyone." Jessica's mother cleared her throat. Everyone had forgotten she was there. "If I may," she said, her voice softer than before. She walked toward me, her expensive heels clicking. "I owe you an apology as well. I was raised in a world where appearances matter, where everything must look perfect. And I passed that on to my daughter. But you've shown me something today that my country club friends never could." She paused, seeming to struggle with her words. Grace, she finally said. You have grace. Real grace. Not the kind we fake at charity events, but the kind that comes from genuine strength. And I'm sorry for how I treated you. I didn't know what to say. This elegant woman who'd looked down on me was now apologizing in front of 100 guests. I accept your apology, I said simply. She smiled. A real smile, not the tight-lipped society smile from before. Would you allow me to make amends? There's a boutique downstairs in the hotel. It's owned by a friend. She has a beautiful collection, and it would be my honor to help you pick something out. Not because there's anything wrong with your dress, but because I'd like to give you something special. A gift. From one mother to another. I looked down at my blue dress. Truthfully, it had never been my favorite. I'd bought it because it was on sale and appropriate. But it wasn't me. What color were you thinking? Asked. Her eyes lit up. I saw the most gorgeous rose gold dress in the window this morning. It would be stunning on you. Rose gold. My favorite color, though I'd never had the chance to wear it. That does sound beautiful, I admitted. Then let's go together, she said, offering her arm. We'll have you back in 30 minutes. The ceremony can wait. Jessica nodded eagerly. Absolutely. We're pushing it back an hour. I don't care if people are annoyed. This is more important. I looked at Michael. His eyes were still red, but there was hope in them now. Are you sure? Asked him. About all of this. He walked over and took both my hands in his. Mom, I've never been more sure of anything. I was about to make the biggest mistake of my life by letting you walk out that door. I want you here. I need you here. Not because you're my mother and you're supposed to be here, but because I love you and I can't imagine this day without you. Something loosened in my chest. The hurt was still there, but so was hope. Okay, I said. I'll stay. But I need a few minutes first. To process all of this. Take all the time you need, Michael said. I'll be right here when you're ready. Jessica's mother, call me Catherine, she'd insisted, guided me toward the boutique. As we walked, I glanced back. Michael stood in the hallway watching me go. Jessica was beside him, her hand in his. And for the first time all day they looked like partners. Like they were on the same team. The boutique was small but elegant. Floor-to-ceiling mirrors, soft lighting, and racks of dresses in every color imaginable. Catherine's friend, a petite woman named Diane, greeted us warmly. Catherine mentioned you might be coming. I have several options ready. She led me to a private dressing room where 5 dresses hung. But my eyes went immediately to the rose gold one. It was simple but stunning. A flowing fabric that caught the light, with delicate beading at the neckline. Elegant without being flashy. Perfect. Try it on, Catherine encouraged. I slipped into the dress. It fit like it had been made for me, flowing over the body that had been through so much in the past 3 years. The body that had survived cancer, chemotherapy, 60-hour workweeks, and a lifetime of putting others first. I looked at myself in the mirror and barely recognized the woman staring back. She looked strong, dignified, beautiful. Oh my, Catherine breathed. That's the one. Diane nodded enthusiastically. It's perfect. Like it was waiting for you. I touched the fabric, feeling the quality of it. How much is it? It's a gift, Catherine said firmly. Please. Let me do this. Catherine, I can't accept. You can, she interrupted gently. Because I want to. Because you deserve something beautiful. And because I'm hoping this is the first step toward getting to know you better. Jessica talks about wanting to know you, well so do I. I'd like to have coffee sometime. Really talk. Learn about the woman who raised the man my daughter fell in love with. I looked at her in surprise. You want to be friends? I want to try, she said honestly. I haven't had a real friend in years. Just women who pretend to like me because of my husband's money. But you're real. You don't pretend. I find that refreshing. I laughed. Actually laughed, for the first time all day. Well, I've certainly never been called refreshing before. As Diane helped me accessorize the dress with a simple gold bracelet, Catherine sat beside me. "Can I ask you something?" she said quietly. "Of course. Were you scared during the cancer treatments?" I looked at her. "Terrified. Every single day. But you did it alone." "I did." "Why?" she asked. "Why not tell Michael? Why not ask for help?" Thought about it. Really thought about it. "Because I'd spent his whole life being strong," I said slowly. "After his father died, I had to be both parents. I couldn't be weak. I couldn't fall apart. And after 23 years of being that person, I didn't know how to be anything else." Catherine nodded slowly. "I understand that more than you know." We sat in comfortable silence for a moment. "Can I tell you something?" she said. "I was terrified Jessica was marrying Michael." I looked at her in surprise. "Why?" "Because he came from so little and we had so much. I was afraid he was marrying her for money. For security." She looked embarrassed. "I know that's terrible. But it's what I thought. And now I know better," she said. "A man raised by someone like you. Someone who gives everything without expecting anything back. That's not a man who marries for money. That's a man who knows how to love." We returned to the hotel 40 minutes later. I'd never felt more beautiful. The guests were still there, waiting patiently. Word had spread about what happened, about the cancer, the sacrifice, the confrontation. People looked at me differently now. With respect. With awe. Michael was standing exactly where I'd left him. When he saw me in the new dress, his face lit up. "Mom," he breathed. "You look incredible. Your future mother-in-law has good taste," I said, smiling at Catherine. Jessica appeared, now in her full wedding dress. She was breathtaking, a vision in white silk with that blue sash she'd wanted so badly. But when she saw me, she didn't look territorial or threatened. She looked happy. "You look beautiful," she said warmly. "That color is perfect on you." "Thank you," I replied. "And you look like a princess." She laughed, then grew serious. "I know we've started off rocky. But I promise I'm going to try. I'm going to be a good daughter-in-law. And I'm going to try to be a good mother-in-law," I said. "Even if that means calling you out when you're wrong." "Especially then," she said, grinning. The ceremony began 20 minutes later. I sat in the third row, right on the aisle, exactly where I'd planned to sit hours ago. But everything felt different now. Catherine sat beside me. She reached over and squeezed my hand when the music started. Michael and Jessica stood at the altar, looking into each other's eyes. The officiant talked about love and commitment and partnership. About seeing each other, really seeing each other through good times and bad. Michael glanced at me during the vows. Eyes met. "I promised to see you," he said to Jessica, but I knew those words were partly for me too. Really see you. Even when life gets busy, even when I'm tired, even when it's easier to assume than to ask. "I promise to look." Jessica smiled. "I promise to be brave enough to be seen. To not hide behind perfection or control. To let you in, even when it's scary." They exchanged rings. They kissed. Everyone applauded. And as I watched my son walk back down the aisle with his new wife, I realized something. This wasn't the perfect wedding we'd planned. It was messy and emotional and almost fell apart completely. But it was real. And real was so much better than perfect. At the reception, Michael gave a toast. "Most of you know what happened today," he said, his voice carrying across the room. "How I almost made the worst mistake of my life. My mom was about to walk out, not because she wanted to, but because I made her feel like she had to. And before she left, she told me something I'll never forget." He looked at me, his eyes shining. "She told me that love isn't about taking people for granted. It's about seeing them. Really seeing them. Asking why instead of assuming. Standing by each other when things are hard." He raised his glass. "Mom, you've shown me what real love looks like my entire life. You've sacrificed more than I knew, given more than I deserved, and loved me more than I can ever repay. And today you taught me one more lesson, that I need to do better. Be better. Not just for Jessica, but for everyone I love." He walked over to where I sat and knelt beside my chair. "I love you, Mom," he said, just loud enough for me to hear. "And from now on, I'm going to show you that love the way you've shown me. No more taking you for granted. No more assumptions. I'm going to see you." I cupped his face in my hands. "I love you too, sweetheart. Always." Jessica joined us, tears streaming down her face. "Can I be part of this too?" she asked shyly. I opened my arms, and she fell into them. We held each other. Three people who'd started the day as strangers and enemies, now bound together by tears and truth and hard-won understanding. The guests applauded. Some cried. Catherine stood and raised her own glass. "To family," she called out. "Not the perfect version we pretend to be, but the messy, beautiful, real version we actually are." "To family," everyone echoed. I looked around at all these people. At Michael and Jessica starting their new life, at Catherine who'd become an unexpected friend, at the guests who'd witnessed something raw and true. This wasn't the wedding I'd imagined. It was better. Because sometimes the best moments in life aren't the ones we plan. They're the ones where we fall apart and put ourselves back together, where we speak hard truths and find grace, where we stop pretending to be perfect and start choosing to be real. My blue dress hung in my closet at home, forgotten. But this rose gold one. This dress that symbolized a day when I finally asked to be seen and was answered with love. "Keep this one forever,"